Wanted to talk about part four of the hours. That's Tess you hear in the background. Um, and I was going to talk about Laura Brown, who's the uh, one of the three characters in the hours. Um, so Laura Brown, so she is a housewife in the 1960s, and she's married to a man played by John C. Riley, and she has a little boy. I think he's maybe about 6 or 7 years old, named Richie. And typical of a housewife of that generation, the husband went to work and the mother was left with the child. Well, and she's also pregnant with another child coming on the way. And so at the beginning of when we first meet Laura Brown, her husband, you know, comments on how tired she looks and everything and how she has to take care of herself. And or she says, I'm just tired. But she's very depressed. What is she depressed about? Um, we don't know at that point. We just know that something's off. And so, what happens in the story of Laura Brown in The Hours, played by Julianne Moore, by the way? Julianne Moore is a great actress, another one of our finest. Some of y'all might know her from Boogie Nights, where she played some kind of X-rated porn star or whatever. And she's very versatile. She was nominated for an Oscar for this role in Laura Brown in The Hours. I'm not sure who won, but she was brilliant in The Hours. She finally won an Oscar after many nominations for Sweet Alice. Uh, no, Still Alice. I'm sorry. Which is about a woman who suffers from Alzheimer's, the declining Alzheimer's disease. She won an Oscar for Best Actress, and if you've not seen Still Alice with Julianne Moore, I recommend it. It's a brilliant film, and her performance was uh, just really captivating and not captivating, just extraordinary. Anyway, so there's this one scene though that comes to mind about in the hours with Laura Brown is she has a neighbor uh, who comes over to visit one day. Her name is Kitty, played by Toni Collette, another one of my favorite actresses who you might remember from The Sixth Sense as the mother of Haley Joel Osment. And so Kitty comes over and she finds the book um, that Laura Brown is reading, which is Mrs. Dalloway, which is that connection of the three characters of the hours. And she says, "What's this book about?" And Laura Brown said, "Well, it's about this woman who's giving a party." And Kitty is one of these like characters that's very like, party. Oh my God, I love parties. I love people. I love being around people. I love country clubs and all this stuff. And then Laura Brown says, "Yeah, it's about this woman giving a party, and everybody thinks she's confident, but she's not." And Kitty's face, I mean, Toni Collette just has the smallest part, but she's so brilliant in it. Her face just kind of like declines because, here she tells her that this woman's having a party and everybody thinks she's confident, but she's not. And it kind of I think it kind of like, well, it definitely startled Kitty, but it also kind of, you can tell she doesn't like to talk about her feelings. But the reason that she's there is to tell Laura that she has to go into a hospital for an operation because she can't have children. And she tells Laura how lucky she is to be able to have children. And we know at that point that one of Laura's issues is that she is so depressed that raising a child, Richie, her child that she has now and one coming on the way, is excruciating for her. Um, but Kitty tells her she's going to the hospital, so she needs her to feed her dog. And what I love about this scene is that it's the first scene in the film where the two women characters kiss. Now, I remember I think I told you I watched this with my mom. I told her, I said, "Mom, why do you think there was so many women kissing scenes?" And my mom was like, "They're lesbians," and I was like, "No, that's not what that's about." The kissing scenes outside of the one I'm going to talk about when I talk about Clarissa Vaughn, The kissing scenes between two women characters in the hours that takes place has nothing to do with sexuality. It has sexual longing. It has to do with these two women connecting in an intimate moment like kissing to bridge their femininity, to marry their femininity, to embrace their femininity. It's very beautiful. Um, I'm not appalled by obviously two women kissing or two men kissing, if romantically at all. And like I said, this is not romantic, this particular scene with Kitty. So what Laura Brown does in the film is that she makes a decision to kill herself, kind of like Virginia Woolf. And she goes to a hotel to do it, but she doesn't do it. But we find out at the end of the film that what happened was when her second child was born, she left her family. She left her husband, Richie, and her child. I think it was a daughter. And she got on a bus and made her way to Canada and worked in a library. And she tells Clarissa, and I'll talk about Clarissa later, like I said, but she tells Clarissa at the end of the film that it was a choice between, and this is reminiscent of the train scene of Virginia Woolf, but she said it was a choice between life and death, and she chose life. In other words, she had to leave her family. I mean, she didn't have to, but in order for her, you know, to live, that was what she had to do. She abandoned her family. And my I have a strong fear of abandonment. So that's probably another part of this film that I think resonates with me is that abandonment uh, issue. Whether somebody is abandoning someone else or they're abandoning themselves. And so that's pretty much a brief synopsis of Laura Brown and analysis of her character. Um, like I said, Julianne Moore does a terrific job, and and it's a very good character. And in fact, when we see her at the end of the film, she has aged quite a bit, and the makeup is wonderful, and she looks about 80 years old. And can you imagine abandoning your family, and then all your family dies before you do, and you're left? And there's a great scene between her and Clarissa where she talks about that. So once again, just remember the film; it's worth it. And that's why I do these reviews, is I want people to see the film. I mean, I don't. I mean, I'm talking just, I don't know, just talking about characters because you know I'm not a people person, but I'm fascinated by characters, especially characters who are longing and characters who are changing, because we all are changing every day. So I hope you enjoyed this. I don't know what Tess is doing out there. Um, I don't hope you enjoyed this. I hope this brought some enlightenment to the character of Laura Brown from The Hour, Stephen Delane's brilliant film, number 2 on my list of favorite films. Thank you. Have a blessed day after work today. Didn't get much sleep, but I'm ready to go. All right. Love you guys. Love everybody. Love each other. Go vegan. Help animals. Help people. Do something. Love you. Bye.